Tomorrow marks 10 years since the world was introduced to a man who'd go on to set a new benchmark for acting in TV drama.
Yes, and change the image of chemistry teachers forever.
Right.
Do we have to say his name?
You all know exactly who I am. Say my name.
All right, all right. It's Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. Well made, sir. We had a scary moment.
We are so glad to see you.
Live television.
Yes,
Very
so
good.
Do you know what Iron Brew is? That
No.
film we've just done, it's a Scottish drink.
Yes.
And that's it there.
That's
you can
it.
see it's a very natural, lovely colour.
Have a taste, look.
See what you think.
All right.
Go for it.
It's very natural, as you can see by the colour.
Okay,
Go on.
It's not just a Scottish drink, it is
It's the Scottish drink.
Oh,
It's not bad, is it?
that's kind of delightful, yeah.
Well, they're changing the recipe.
Why?
What we saw there, that fans of this drink, Iron Brew, are really putting up a fight because they like the original. But in the film, when they tested it, people couldn't really tell the difference. They probably haven't got a problem on their hands, really. But have other brands successfully changed recipe?
Some have and some haven't. I think it's the public. We just don't want to be told what to do we?
We don't like
No one's going
change,
to tell
Carrie.
us that we're cutting
No.
down on sugar, even if it's bad for us. So, for instance, Nestle with their Milky Bar, they upped the milk, so there's now a third of the content, over a third of the content is now milk, and sugar's gone down. Similarly with Kit Kat, they've done the same. Now, it seems like we haven't been that bothered about those brands. However, back in 2015, Cadbury's Cream Eggs changed the shell from dairy milk to some other recipe, and sales of their Easter lines went down by £10 million. But they insisted it wasn't because of a recipe change. But we don't like change. Lucozade, now this is an interesting one because it's quite similar, I think, to Iron Brew. Lucozade in 2016, they reduced their sugar content so it was within the range that it's meant to be. 10,000 people signed a petition saying they did not want the change. Now, it's brilliant. On Twitter, this is brilliant. People were saying, what's happened to orange Lucozade? It tastes like bleach. Completely different drink to what it used to be, real shame. And then somebody else said, it's on Twitter again, I've literally drank Lucozade orange every day for as long as I can remember. This change in recipe is a personal attack. So we don't want this change. But the next big challenge for that company is Ribena. So
Bina?
Yeah,
not Ribena.
Yeah, well, they've had literally hundreds of different versions of this drink trying to get this sugary version right, so it's down on the sugar but still got sugar in it. They're super tasters who are in their factories. They've got to a point where they can't tell the difference now, but we will be the judge of that because the public in a couple of months will be able to see.
All right. Well,
Could
look,
be another
Brian's
But this-
loving the
Brian's
Iron
loving
Brew.
it.
This is a misnomer because there's neither iron nor a brew in part of this.
Brewed, that's brewed.
This is
that's
brewed?
in Scotland, yeah.
This is actually brewed?
in Scotland, yeah.
And made with girders.
I think it's...
With girders. It's brewed with girders.
I don't think this is brewed. This is fermented.
What brands aren't they changing then?
So-
aren't going to listen to the.
Well,
this,
at the
this whole thing.
moment, Coca-Cola is not changing.
Well, they made a bit of a faux pas, didn't they?
You're
I
right,
remember
it is,
it. Do
wasn't
you
it?
remember this?
Back
They
in
changed the recipe?
1985.
With Coke Zero, wasn't
No,
it?
they just did
no.
the normal one. They changed it,
Oh.
and it lasted. But it wasn't just the sugar. They just changed the recipe, and for 79 days they held their ground, and then they gave up because there were so many people that said we're not drinking it.
Yeah.
So they are at the moment. Of course, they do. They've got lots of zero stuff and low calorie stuff, so they do have other choices. They're saying that they are considering changing the size of the cans and the bottles. So that's
Right.
how they will.
So you consume less by drinking less.
exactly.
Well,
Cheers, Carrie.
thank you, lovely.
Lovely. Now, you love the Iron Brew, Brian. Have you dabbled with any other sort of UK, British traditions like builder's tea? I mean, have you done that yet?
I don't know what builder's tea is.
Builder's tea is
It's
the
only
best
for
type of
construction
tea.
workers.
Strong
No.
tea.
Yeah.
Strong tea
It's
with
very
a dash
strong.
of
I like
milk.
strong. I like strong coffee. I like strong
Fish
tea.
and chips?
Yes, fish and chips. There's a place right near the hotel I stayed at when we were rehearsing the play. That was quite good.
Because you've been. How long have you been here now?
Since 1902, actually. Since late September.
Yeah, so you do a network, aren't you, at the National
Network
Theatre?
at the National Theatre.
Yeah. And have you had a chance to see any other parts of the UK apart from London?
I've seen the rehearsal rooms and the stage. When I rehearse and get a show up on its feet, I really live a very hermetic life.
You have to.
You know,
You absolutely have
I
to.
really do. It's like I go home and I work, and I go to work and I work, and. But now, see, my wife is coming over. We're going to have 2.5 to 3 months here, and we're going to see. We'll catch up on our plays and museums and do all the stuff.
Well, we'll plan a route for you, Brian, after
You
the
did.
show. We'll do Wales and then up to Scotland, Northern Ireland, beautiful Northern
absolutely
Ireland. I mean,
beautiful.
we've got it all sorted.
I wooed my wife.
Yeah.
This wife, I thought you said.
I was going to say. Well, actually, that is true. Mrs. Cranston.
Which one was this? No, this is the fourth. No, she was doing a semester at Oxford, and I went up there and I went in and I rented a punt on the Thames, and I was out there with the pose and I pushed down and I didn't understand how this goes, and all of a sudden I went, I guess I have to lift and I lifted up the pole and the muck and mire and water starts cascading down on me, and I knew it was wrong, and yet I couldn't. I went, oh, this is bad, and I hear some guy drinking a pint on the bridge goes, use it as a raw yank. I went, what? Use it as a raw. And I went, I'm sorry. And then he slowed down. Use it as a rudder. And I went, use it as a rudder. And then, of course, you just, but I was full of mud.
But she still married you,
And
look.
she still sat like this. So
That's love.
she still married me, yeah.
She did. Well, Brian's new film, Last Flag Flying, is set in 2003. He plays Sal, a Vietnam vet, who is reunited with 2 of his friends from the war.
It's a heartwarming story about a very serious subject, but it's also really, really funny. Really, really lovely film. I watched it last night. We saw you there with Lawrence Fishburne and Steve Carell. The 3 of you looked like you struck up a hugely happy rapport.
We did. I mean, the movie really is about male bonding and friendships and how men rekindle relationships, how they deal with grief and loss in their lives. But as you said, it's truly entertaining and funny and heartfelt. It's a complete movie. It's really a wonderful film. I'm very proud of it.
And how do I say this now, Brian? Your character is kind of lovably irritable.
Irritable?
How different to the characters you play are you 3?
Well, if you ask my wife, I could be irritable as well. But no, Sal, my character Sal is that kind of guy who takes the air out of a room.
Yeah.
He says yes to everything.
Big energy.
Big energy.
Yeah.
He wants to consume food and drugs and
women.
Drink and women and everything. But he's also the first one to say, I will help you as a friend. He will do anything for a friend. So there's nobility in that.
He's got heart.
He's got heart. He really does. Deep down and over his calloused soul.
And also, Steve Carell, it's not the kind of role that you'd expect to see him doing.
No, he really anchors the whole film with this man who is dealing with his own loss and depression. And through the end, you see a spark of hope. This movie ends with such really glorious hope. People are crying, people are laughing throughout this film.
Yeah.
It's really terrific.
Sorry, go on.
Well, it's an interesting. It's an anti-war film, but
Yes.
pro-military, pro soldiers, pro the guys on the ground. Isn't
Right, and I don't think that's mutually exclusive.
No.
I think every movie should be an anti-war movie. War should be the last resort of any conflict. And this, when you're a member of the military, it's like being a member of a specific family.
Yeah.
You're allowed to criticize your own family, but outsiders can't do that.
No.
So inside, they're talking about the ridiculous missions they were on, and was this worth it? Were we just pawns in this bigger battle that it was dealing with military personnel and politics? And we know from history now that Vietnam and Iraq were wrong. They weren't wars that we should have been fighting. It's not like my father's war, World War II, which had a clear and present danger. And so I think if it starts that conversation among the military as well, hopefully then we can trust our leaders and military personnel to make it justified, whatever conflict has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's one particular scene that was very moving, which you found very moving to film, wasn't it? It was on a particular day, and you know, it made you ask yourself questions about how you felt about the war and every war that's been, I guess.
It really is. There's a scene in here where we go to an airplane hangar to claim the body of Steve Carell's son's body, his character's son's body. And we shot that on Veterans Day.
That's right.
Wow. And it was solemn and respectful. And we honor those who serve in the military, both men and women of any country. It's the ultimate sacrifice that they're making. They're willing to make. And we who are storytellers want to be involved in that epic story about when is it proper to present that kind of conflict resolution. And this deals with, we showed this to military families all over the place, and
it honours the right.
Yeah.
people.
It does honor.
Be familiar now with this from the sequence, the opening sequence of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
The periodic table,
That's
of course. We're going to get some elements up here, and hopefully you will tell us a story relating to that specific element.
Oh, really?
Yes, apparently.
I mean, of course I will.
So our first one is Y for yttrium, that famous element, but it's actually Y. Y is for Y-fronts.
Y-front.
Bob is meant for shaking. And when I start to wiggle, my nipples, they will jiggle.
Once again, I have to be embarrassed for both of us.
Yep.
I mean, will you take a role if you don't have to wear them?
I have the world's worst agent, where he interpreted nudity clause as being nude, as opposed to not being. I don't know. This is I think you, if you have no shame whatsoever, this is what you end up doing.
Isn't it funny though? Tighty whities, Y-fronts are funny.
Tighty whities.
Tighty whitey.
Tighty whities, they are funny. They're a funny.
They are
They're
funny.
a funny undergarment.
Or sad. They can be funny
Exactly.
or sad.
Well,
Exactly.
right, we're going to
Another
go now
element.
to HE, which is normally for helium.
Very
But
good.
for you, Brian, we've made it Heartbreak Hotel.
Heartbreak Hotel.
Now, that particular Elvis song has a special meaning to you, doesn't it?
Oh, I know where you're going.
Thank God.
Yes. Oh no, I don't know what you mean.
Your brother,
I used
remember?
to. I was on a motorcycle traveling the country for 2 years, just getting odd jobs in places. And we stopped in Florida, and we would volunteer to do open mic night and sing songs. So I sang a lot of Elvis songs, Heartbreak Hotel, and
Don't be cruel.
Return to Sender, Don't Be Cruel, all the things. And occasionally we would actually win. And so...
You got a voice.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a...
voice.
I don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other lover. Baby, it's just you I'm thinking of.
You got the look as well, man.
Oh, I have to do that.
You did the whole thing.
But not... Unlike you, I am not a singer. I don't consider myself a singer. You are a singer.
Well,
He's usually the turn, but look,
HO is for holmium, isn't it?
Yes.
But we're actually making it homicide. Were you wanted for murder?
Quick, move away. Move away. Move away.
For a short period of time, there was what's called an all-points bulletin put out on me and my brother, looking for. We were murder suspects. Yes. One of the odd jobs when we were on our motorcycles was in a Chinese restaurant, and the Chinese cook was this horrible man named Peter Wong. I mean, he was just horrible to everybody.
Right.
And he was he filled with hubris and greed, and he would go out with big wads of money and go to the dog track, and someone clobbered him, stuck him in a trunk, and.
But it wasn't you. Just tell us that.
Will it make
Quick, do the
will it make me more dangerous if it was me?
gosh.
No, it wasn't me. I mean, I clobbered him, but I didn't.
He got up.
Well, it's fair to say that Bryan didn't murder that particular man, but he's no stranger to a bee, as this picture proves. Look at this.
Yes, well, it's extraordinary. Thank you so much to Bryan.
Yes.
And Last Flag Flying is in cinemas on Sunday.
Yes. Have a great weekend.
Have a lovely weekend.
Bye.
God bless.
Thanks, Bryan.
Bye.
Brilliant.